Hello everyone, welcome to another video of CMA US Part 1 where we are discussing about Section A. So in Section A of CMA US Part 1 we have about the external financial reporting. Now when we have the external financial reporting, one of the financial statements that we present to our external stakeholders is a statement of cash flows. Now let's look into what is there in a statement of cash flows. First of all, let's see that why do we have anything such as a statement of cash flows, because it helps us to know that exactly what is cash, how much cash is there in the business, not exactly what is cash, but how much cash is there in the business. So we already have the balance sheet, right? In the balance sheet, in the current assets, we have the cash. But why do we have something as a statement of cash flow? So why we have is because how we understand that where the cash is actually going, where are we actually using it off, that's what we get to understand with the help of statement of cash flows. Now why this concept exists, why do we have something as a statement of cash flows? Because the income statement or the profit and loss statement that we prepare is prepared based on the accrual accounting. That means we recognize the income irrespective of the fact whether the cash has been received or not. We recognize the expense irrespective of the fact whether we have paid for it or not. So that is what accrual accounting is in a nutshell. That is, it doesn't account for the actual cash movement. In the accrual accounting, we do not consider the actual cash movement. Okay, so that is why we have this concept of a statement of cash flows. Why? Because it helps us to track the cash movement, it helps us to understand the liquidity, and it provides us the clarity beyond the income statement and the balance sheet. Now as per ASC 230, SCF means statement of cash flow is mandatory wherever financial statements are presented. That means wherever you are displaying your, or maybe showcasing your, or sending somewhere your financial statements, it is now mandatory as per the accounting standard codification 230 that you need to present your statement of cash flows. Now what is statement of cash flows, what do we have in this concept explanation? Let us understand. So first of all, statement of cash flows is one of the three main financial statements. What are the three main financial statements? Income statement, balance sheet, and the statement of cash flows. Now what does it shows? What do we have in statement of cash flows? We have the cash receipts and we have the cash payments. One important point, like three of the important points to note, is that statement of cash flows is applicable to all entities. It must be presented even if only income statement is showed, and it includes cash, cash equivalents, restricted cash equivalents. So these are just some important points to remember. We will be very easily to understand these points once we move ahead with this particular concept. Now cash flows are further classified into three categories. We have three categories. One is the operating, one is the investing, and one is the financing activities. Now what are these three activities? We will study in all these slides, the 15 slides which are there for this particular concept. We will study it in that. Now okay, one example we have that why do we have statement of cash flows, which will help you to understand better. Now suppose an Indian company, it sells goods worth rupees 5 lakh on credit. 5 lakh on credit, that means they are not taking the cash right away from the customer. They are giving this flexibility to the customer that you take the goods now and give me back the money later on. So that is what credit means. Now income statement shows profit but no cash is received immediately. Why? Because we follow the accrual method of accounting. So in the accrual method of accounting, what happens, though we have made that sale, we will record that sale in our income statement. We will record that sale on our income statement. So that will be counted in profit, but did we actually receive cash for it? No. Why? Because this is on credit. So when we are preparing the statement of cash flow, it will clearly show that no cash inflow from that sale. This helps understand the real liquidity. That means that sale has been displayed, has been presented in income statement, but we did not receive any actual cash. So that's what statement of cash flow will clearly show. Now, key relationships. Now, what are the relationships between all this statement of cash flows? Like, what all are three categories? So always remember net change in cash. That means the change in cash in throughout the year, whatever a change is in the value, in the balance of cash that is present. Suppose in the beginning of the year I have 10,000 rupees cash in my cash box. At the end of the year I have 20,000 rupees. Suppose in the beginning I have 10k, at the end I have 20k cash. So what does that mean? That means the difference which is there, that will be presented how? That we can understand with the help of the operating, investing and financing activities. Okay. So that's how net change in cash will be displayed. Now, this is a format of a statement of cash flow, like how exactly it looks like. So this is cash flow from operating activities, which shows net cash provided by operating activities. That means net cash means what? This is inflow minus outflow or outflow minus inflow, vice versa. Okay. Similarly, we have net cash flow from financing, investing activities, net cash flow from investing and net cash flow from financing activities. Then we have net increase in cash and cash equivalents and restricted cash, cash equivalents and restricted cash at the beginning of the year, cash equivalents and restricted cash at the end of the year. This is just for a presentation purpose. I can assure you that till date I have not seen anywhere in the examination that you will be asked the format of any of the financial statements. This is just given over here for your better understanding. It's not something like that you need to memorize or anything. It's just to show you, to help you understand that okay, how an actual statement of cash flow is presented. Now, supplemental schedule of non-cash investing and financing activities. This is a supplemental kind of schedule which is also presented. Now, one important note we have over here. This is important. What? When the indirect method is used to prepare the cash flow from operating section of statement of cash flow, a supplemental schedule showing the amount of cash paid for interest and amount of cash paid for income taxes must also be disclosed. So now what does this mean? What does this mean? So one thing I would like to just explain in a very short manner over here, that we have three activities: operating, investing and financing. This operating activity, this operating activity has two methods: direct method and indirect method. What are these methods? These methods we will understand when we will understand later on in this chapter. Now, what this particular note is saying, that we have direct method and we have indirect method. So now when the indirect method is used to prepare the cash flow from operating section of the statement of cash flow, this supplemental schedule will be needed. That means when indirect method is there, then we need to do what? We need to have this supplemental schedule to show you IIT. What? To show you IIT. What is IIT? Interest and income taxes. Okay, that's what. So what I am saying, I am just repeating my sentence again. When we are preparing the operating activity as per the indirect method, in that case we need to do what? We need to present this supplemental schedule of non-cash investing and financing activity, where we will show what? We will show IIT. Okay, interests and income taxes. Moving on. Now, how to prepare statement of cash flows. Now, very simple, very easy to understand. The total cash change in a year, that is closing cash minus opening cash, must always equal the operating, investing and financing. What is the opening cash? 50,000. Closing cash 80,000. There is an increase in cash of how much? 30,000. So that means the sum total of operating, investing and financing should always be 30,000. This point we should always remember. I mean, I don't think that there will be like, very twisted questions, because this is a quite straightforward question. Now suppose in the examination, if it is given to you that a change, total cash change in a particular year has been 20,000 rupees. Now suppose let's take this example, that the total cash change is equals to 20k. So that means the sum total of operating, investing and financing should be 20k. Now suppose operating has been given to you as 5k, investing as 7k, and they are asking you that what should be the financing. So you can aram se tell, right? 7 plus 5, 12, 20 minus 12. So 8k will be our what? 8k will be our financing activity. Okay. Now, what does cash actually include? So what does cash actually include? That means we are till now we have been talking about statement of cash flows, statement of cash flows, statement of cash flows. So what does cash includes? So cash has four major things. First is the cash, the actual money, the actual currency notes. Then we have the cash equivalents. What are cash equivalents? We will understand in this heading. Then we will have restricted cash, and we have restricted cash equivalents. What is all each of these? We will understand shortly. Now, coming to the this cash equivalents. What does cash equivalents have? Cash equivalents have short-term investments. They are highly liquid, they are easily converted into cash, there is no major risk, and their maturity is less than 3 months. That means these are those components, or maybe these are those kinds of investments which can be very easily converted into cash. That means if today I want to go and sell off a particular security, a particular kind of investment I have made in the market, I want to sell it off and I'll get some money back from that. So in that case, what happens? That becomes a cash equivalent. Why? Because I can easily go and sell it off in the market. There is no major risk associated with it, and also one important point, that its maturity is less than 3 months or equal to 3 months. It should not have a maturity period greater than 3 months. What are the examples of some cash equivalents? T-bills, commercial paper and money market funds. Now, what is restricted cash? So now sometimes what happens, like one very layman's term example of restricted cash. Suppose I am a bank, and there is one person, he is a business owner, he has launched a new business, and he comes to me for 10 CR ka loan. He is coming to me and saying that give me a loan of 10 CR. I am like, okay fine, I'll give you a loan of 10 CR, but since you are a new businessman, your business is pretty new, I need some kind of assurance. So what I will say, that I will give you a loan, but the loan document which I am giving you, on that I am mentioning a condition, or maybe I am mentioning a term or a condition which says that you need to keep at least 5 CR as cash in your business, and you cannot use it. You should always have a minimum balance of 5 CR in your bank account. That's what is a kind of a restricted cash. That means it's present with me, it's there with me handy in my cash box or in my bank account, but I cannot use it. Why? Because bank has imposed this limitation on me that I cannot use this. So that is what a basic example of restricted cash. So what other things are there which includes in restricted cash is some money which is set aside for future projects. Like suppose I have a business, and after 2 years I am planning that okay, I will set up a new factory in the outskirts of Bangalore. So what happens? For that I need 10 CR of cash. From today onwards, I am keeping some 5-6 CR as a restricted cash for that particular project, and I am not gonna touch it. So that is what restricted cash, which is available but cannot be freely used. Then reserved for loan repayment. Now suppose next year I have a loan of a high amount, like suppose 20 lakhs ka loan I need to repay. In that case, what happens? I am keeping aside money for repaying that loan easily. So that is also what a kind of a restricted cash. And this required by banks. This 5 crore, it's a compensating balance. This term compensating balance is mentioned, no? This 5 crore is a compensating balance. Now, one important rule, one very important rule over here we have, one very important rule over here we have is that movement with 4 cash categories is not a cash flow. That means if your cash moves from cash to cash equivalents, or from this category to restricted cash, or from these are not termed as like movement of cash, because the cash is the same. Because in the statement of cash flows, what all things we include cash, cash equivalents, restricted cash and restricted cash equivalents. So if the money is moving among these 4 categories, no, so it is nowhere accounted as an inflow or outflow of cash. Why? Because the cash is staying within your business only. It's not going out of my business or coming inside my business. Okay, now next one is cash inflows versus outflow, the presentation rule. First of all, for investing and financing activities, show inflow and outflows separately. Do not combine them. So, purchase of machinery show separately, sale of machinery show separately. You should not combine the purchase and sale of machinery into one net figure. Now, foreign currency cash flows, use exchange rate or date of transaction or average rate if similar results. So, use date of transaction or average rate for foreign currency cash flows, because we need to convert the foreign currency. If we are getting, now suppose I am sitting in India, I have a customer based out of London, and he's sending me cash in GBP, in Great Britain pound. I am getting money in pounds, so that is like what, that is cash coming in. So what I will do, that GBP ko I need to convert into what, I need to convert it into rupee. Okay, and what rate I will use, I will use the date of the transaction, whatever exchange rate is there on that date, or an average rate. Now we have this classification of cash flows. So cash flows are divided into 3 categories: operating, investing and financing activities. What are these activities? We will study in the subsequent slides in a lot of detail. Now, final link, one most important thing which we have already discussed and now we should understand is that operating, investing plus financing activities is equals to net increase or decrease in cash. This number must match the closing cash minus the opening cash. This is again the revision or the repetition of the same thing which we have already studied. So this is the golden rule of statement of cash flows. The net change must always reconcile with the difference between opening and the closing cash balances. Okay, now we are done with the first major 4 slides of this chapters. I will cover the remaining, the cash flow from operating, investing and financing and the furthermore topics in the next particular video. Thank you so much guys for your time.